All right. So on the screen, we got the Super Falcons of Nigeria in training. This actually looks like before training. You got players coming in, and this footage is from today, day 5 of camping, day 5 of training. And this is, of course, for the Olympic Games in Paris. The team is currently based in Seville, Spain. And speaking of the Olympic Games, we're only 2 weeks away from our first match in the competition. We take on Brazil on the 25th of July. Of course, we play Spain and Japan after that. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about a couple of players who've made their way into camp. And we're also going to be talking about Jennifer Echegini, Super Falcons midfielder, just made a big move to PSG. We're going to be talking about that right here. But first, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much. So yeah, last time around we talked about head coach Randy Waldrum making an invitation because of the injured player. Of course, Halimatu Allende, midfielder out of Rosengård in Sweden, picked up that knee injury in training, and sadly she will be missing the Olympic Games in Paris. So the coach had to make that move. He invited Ifeoma Onumonu he took Ifeoma Onumonu from the alternate list and put her in the main squad. Then he invited Regina Otu to come into the alternate list. And for this competition, 18 players will be at the competition, 4 will be alternates. But right here in this camp, all 22 players are expected to show up. And that's why you see players like Gift Monday in camp, even though she was on the alternate list. But the 2 players who have made their way in are actually alternate players. Funny enough, Jumoke Alani and Regina Otu. Jumoke Alani, a fullback that plays for Nasarawa Amazons in the NWFL. She can play as a right or a left fullback. Has been in the team a few times. First got in the team when Deborah Abiodun and Cole got into the team. Deborah Abiodun, Esto Yene Zide Tosin Demehin. She came from the under-20s basically. Didn't really get a chance, first of all, because she couldn't even make the flight to Japan. I think that was who we played that match. And we had plenty of visa issues. She was one of them, couldn't even make it to the match. Then lately, the game against South Africa, she was called up as an alternate for Ashley Plumpton. And I'm guessing she must have shown the coach a little something in training for her to be put into this alternate list. Because like I've always been saying, making it to the alternate list is really, really a good thing, because we got players. I'm talking, when I show y'all the list of players that didn't make this team, we can make another team with the players that didn't make this team. So it's definitely impressive to make it on the alternate list. Now, another thing we talked about when it comes to Jumoke Alani was the fact that she was stuck in Nigeria because of a mistake made on her accreditation. So I'm guessing whatever mistake was made has been corrected by now. But my other question is, a player like Tosin Demain, they said both of them were not in camp because of the mistakes on accreditation. So I'm wondering when Tosin Demain will be coming into camp, hopefully sooner than later. Well, honestly, we can't be sure that she's not in camp already, because as you look at this footage right here, that's I Oshoala, and nobody has really made any noise about her coming into camp or anything like that. I haven't seen too many reports saying that she has made it in camp. So this could be just a situation that she's in camp and they forgot to mention it. Now, Regina too, like I said, came into camp with Jumoke Alani. Now, I don't know if they came in at the same exact time, but they were reported together though. Now, Regina too played for Saint Etienne in France last season. We actually had a couple more players that played on Saint Etienne last season. Yewande Balogun, our third choice goalkeeper at the last Women's AFCON. And you also have Amanda Ombadi, midfielder, who's played for the Super Falcons. I'm not sure Regina too is going to be joining them next season. I think they parted ways. but she comes into the team. Like I've said before, she's a midfielder that can play as both a defensive and a central midfielder. I feel like she's a player that could definitely help this team, especially with the gap that's been left from Halimatu Allende's injury. But just a couple days after getting that call up, she makes it into camp. So we got to credit the NFF for this one. This was pretty quick. She gets the call up, I believe, was it on Tuesday? And she's in camp on a Thursday. So that's pretty quick right there. Now moving on. Last time we talked about Jennifer Echegini and her move from Juventus. Of course, she spent like 6 months at Juventus, scored 10 goals in like 16 matches for the club. And a few days ago, she made her decision public that she was going to be leaving Juventus. She thanked the club and all that good stuff. And right then and there were reports that she was going to go to PSG. I talked about that in one of the videos. And now that report has been made a truth, because she is signed with PSG. It was announced today, and that deal is going to run for 3 seasons, I believe. It will end June 2027, and none about money was made public, so we don't know how much the deal costs, as in how much Juventus is getting from PSG, and we also don't know how much Jennifer Echegini is getting from PSG, if you know what I mean. But either way it goes, great move right here for Jennifer Echegini. Something that was in the works. I've been hearing about it for weeks, maybe even months now. And finally it has been made to happen. Jennifer Echegini now a PSG player. Of course, PSG, the second best club in France. And that's not really something to be ashamed about. The best club in France is like a top 2 team in the world, basically. But one thing that kind of hit me right away was, what are we going to do when PSG play Paris FC? I don't know. It's going to be tough right there. It's going to be like you got 2 children on both sides fighting each other, and you don't know what to do. That's going to be crazy right there. Now, I just feel like Jennifer Echegini has been on a great rise ever since we laid our eyes on her. She came into the Super Falcons camp. She was not playing for Florida State at that time. She was playing for Ole Miss, Mississippi State, or something like that. And she moved from Mississippi State to Florida State. And like they say, the rest was history. She wins the national championship over there, wins the award for the best player in the country over there, and just did her thing over there. She moves to Juventus. After 6 months, she did her thing, 10 goals in like 16, 14 matches. There was a little bit of talk from the fans like, why is she leaving? Oh, she's selfish and this and that, which she did address in a thank you speech to the club, in this part where she said, despite all that may have been said, I'm extremely grateful to have been a part of this family. So yes, they said some things about her. Yes, she heard it, but it was still love. And I just felt like that's kind of messed up. What are you expecting? You expect her to stay at Juventus for the rest of her career, and you guys are not really trying to do something on the bigger level. She's going to play in the Champions League consistently, hopefully at PSG. And you just got to be happy for a player when she's making a move like that. I feel like people take their fanship a little bit too much. You're so concerned about the club, you're not concerned about, is the player happy? You need your player to be happy at all times, and if she doesn't want to be there, she's not going to be happy, meaning she's not going to give you the best of performances. So I like this move. I feel like it's a great move. She proved herself in a tough league, and now she's just going to be trying to prove herself in a much tougher league. The French league, I feel, is one of the best leagues in the world, along with Spain and the USA. And speaking of the USA, does anybody know the explanation as to why Jennifer Echegini was not begged to be in the NWSL draft? I don't understand it. She was the best player in college, and you just allow her to fly to Italy after graduating, which I don't understand that at all. And it's not just one player. You look at Toni Payne, the superstar she was coming up over there in the US. Of course, one of their stars at the under 17, did her thing in Duke when she was in college. If you see her highlights, just a ridiculous player at that time, Toni Payne. And she's in Spain right now. You even look at Michelle Aloze, she had to go to Uzbekistan. That if not for the COVID and things like that, she would have had to come back and be like a trial player for Houston Dash. And you look up and you see that it's really only Ifeoma Onumonu that goes out of college and goes to the NWSL. So somebody needs to explain something to me. What's really going on? But either way it goes, Jennifer Echegini makes the move from Juventus to PSG. And also we got 2 more players joining the camp. Jumoke Alani, Regina Otu, both made their way in. Now please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.